Hello guys, welcome to my channel Lucid Fanfic, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. Third POV. The day was a typical day for all the students. However, soon it was about to take a turn for the worst for one student in Class 1A. Izuku Midoriya could feel that the day was off for some reason, but he didn't know what it was. All of his friends seemed fine and nothing set off alarms, but for some reason, his body was screaming at him that today would not have a good start. Listen up. The principal wants everyone to head to the school assembly hall. I haven't been told what this meeting is about, so don't ask me. Get moving, Aizawa stated. Then he got back into his sleeping bag and started to crawl towards the assembly hall. Everyone just sweat dropped at that moment, but soon got up and followed their teacher. About 5 minutes later, they also saw Class 1B heading towards the assembly hall. Each class asked each other if they knew, and neither did. Izuku kept feeling uneasy as more time passed. It seemed whatever was setting Izuku off would happen in the assembly hall, he thought. After about 15 minutes of waiting in the assembly hall for the principal to show up, they heard small clapping. Everyone turned around and saw Nezu standing on the stage with the rest of their teachers. Welcome, everyone. I've decided to bring back a new training exercise based on recent villain trends. We are seeing an increase in organized crime. As such, I've decided to bring back the hero versus villain war game. Nezu stated with a happy expression. He's doing this so he can have some entertainment, thought Izuku. Everyone was surprised, even the teachers. Well, most of them. Anyway, we will pick 2 leaders. One commander of the heroes and one villain leader. After that, each person will enter the booths and drop their name ball into the machine to pick the team they want to be on. It's your choice which team you wish to be on, Nezu said as Present Mike got up and started to try and make people cheer. He wasn't successful. Well, whatever. Now to announce the leader of the villain team, and the villain team leader is Izuku Midoriya. Mike yelled out. Well, I'm starting to get why I felt so off today, Izuku thought. Everyone just gave Izuku looks of pity, which annoyed Izuku, since it reminded him of his past. Now for the hero team leader. We have Katsuki Bakugo. Mike yelled out, which caused Bakugo to get up and yell out. I'm going to destroy you, Deku. Bakugo yelled. Everyone just looked at Izuku and gave him more looks of pity. Soon it was time for everyone to pick their teams. However, this just made Izuku's feeling of something going wrong increase, and he was right. Now let us look at the team results. Mike yelled out, and the results showed themselves. It was horrible. Everyone had picked to be on the hero team since they didn't want to become villains. Some though joined because they were friends with Bakugo like his main group, but others didn't want to join the villain team and be projected in that light for a large-scale game. Everyone was silent. That's not fair. Izuku wouldn't be able to do anything to any of us, yelled out Uraraka. The moment she said that, it made something in Izuku snap. Her words made him remember everyone in his past that thought he couldn't do anything, that he was worthless, that he was just glass and needed to be looked after. Indeed, it seems I will need to change the T. Nezu started talking but was cut off by Izuku. No, don't change the teams. Please leave the teams as they are. I'll do it by myself, Izuku said with a smile on his face, but if someone with experience looked into his eyes, they could see the rage. The teachers and students were shocked that Izuku cut Nezu off. Nezu and All Might though had a good view of Izuku's eyes, unlike everyone else. My boy, what is with that look in your eyes? Thought All Might. Interesting. The look in his eyes reminds me of myself. Has he been underplaying his strength and intelligence? Thought Nezu. The students and teachers were trying to get Izuku to reconsider and said things like that wouldn't be fair to you. This made Izuku laugh and sighed a bit and responded with life isn't fair. You think big natural disasters are, or power-hungry villains are fair? No, they aren't. The world is full of unfairness. It's a hero's job to try to combat that unfairness. Even on the field, you won't always have the number advantage against the villains. As such, if you want to be a pro, we're going to have to push ourselves to the brink. This is just another time I will need to push myself, Izuku said. This made everyone silent, and Aizawa was shocked. No one knew what to say. It seems we have our teams then. Team leaders, you will have a private meeting with me today. Bakugo, you are first, and Midoriya, I will call you when I'm done with him. Everyone, you are done with classes today. Please return to the dorms, Nezu said. Bakugo was a bit shocked, but got over it since he thought it would be easy to crush Deku. Everyone went back to their dorms, but Izuku stayed for a few moments. Nezu had already provided them all with a general rule book that would answer most questions. Though, the team leaders would be allowed to have a Q&A session with Nezu today, but also any time before the exam started. Izuku just sat in the assembly hall and started to read through the rules. He was making marks and notes on anything and everything that he could find. He wanted to know all the loopholes that he could use to his advantage. Izuku's mind was going into overdrive, and he let it. All the thoughts he had on how to take advantage of the rules were going through his mind because of how much he enjoys analyzing things. Soon 40 minutes had passed, and Nezu showed back up in the assembly hall since he saw on the cameras that Izuku was still here. The meeting with Bakugo was only 10 minutes, and he had asked very few questions. Most of them were just how much damage they could cause Izuku before we called the game Izuku, however, has been looking through the book nonstop. Thought Nezu. Hello Izuku, it's time for us to have our meeting, Nezu said, which made Izuku look up. Indeed, it is Principal Nezu, said Izuku with a gleam in his eyes. Nezu was still trying to figure out what changed in Izuku. What had happened from this morning to this moment? Wait, unfair life is unfair, I see. It seems I've overlooked the influence of Izuku's quirkless life has had. It seems he has suppressed a lot of himself to survive. It seems I was right when I picked him as the villain leader. I knew he was smarter and more analytical than he had let on, but I think even I underestimated by how much. Nezu thought. Both Nezu and All Might were in Nezu's office. Izuku had asked Nezu to call for All Might as well, and this confused Nezu a bit since this was only a Q&A session. However, they waited 10 minutes, and All Might showed up. My boy, good to see you, but why did you have Nezu call me for the Q&A session? All Might asked the question they both wanted to know. Several reasons. I'm assuming you both noticed a shift in my attitude, and want answers about that? Izuku asked. Both Nezu and All Might thought they would need to work that answer out, but they were happy he was going to give it. Yes, we both would like to know. I think we're the only ones that noticed the look in your eyes during the assembly. Nezu stated. As you both know, I was quirkless until I received OFA. All Might, you said you know how it feels to be quirkless, but I need to ask what was your experience during your life, because I would be beaten day in and day out at my old schools. The teachers would encourage my fellow students to use their quirks on me and never stop the bullies. I have so many scars that I've hidden from the world because of my past. I've even been told to take a swan dive off a roof and pray for a quirk in my next life by one of my former friends turned bully. So All Might, was your quirkless days like mine since I've had to put up with all that for a decade since I was told I was quirkless at the age of 4? Izuku asked. Neither All Might and Nezu knew what to say. Nezu knew that discrimination was bad, but this was going from bullying and assault to prolonged torture. No, mine wasn't. Quirkless people were rare, but more of us were around than now. I'm so sorry, my boy. I didn't realize how bad it has gotten and never asked if you needed to talk to myself or someone else. All Might said, while having a disgusted look on his face. He was disgusted with society. The reason for the shift in my attitude was because of what happened in the assembly. It made me feel like I was back in my old schools. As such, I'm no longer holding myself back. Gran Tornio said I've been trying to replicate you so much. He is right, All Might. I've been suppressing my intelligence and abilities for too long. I'm more of a hybrid between you and Nezu than anything else. Izuku said as he took his hero notebook out and gave it to Nezu. Nezu started to go through the book and was shocked. I would agree. You have been holding yourself back on the intelligence front. You have methods to take our nearly every classmate and teacher here at UA and a lot of other heroes. Nezu said while Izuku just grabbed another book called Villain Analyze. Nezu was even more shocked since there were some villains that were currently out on the run and Izuku had methods to capture them that Nezu thought was possible. Izuku, mind if I copy some of these to give out to heroes for active cases? You have ideas to catch some of the villains that are currently on the run, and these ideas seem like they would work. Nezu asked and got approval. It seems you are right, my boy. You are a hybrid of Nezu and me. I didn't think much of those books when I first saw them. That seems to be my fault that I never brought them up to Nezu since he could have helped you get better at it and explore your other abilities than just OFA. All Might said. Nezu agreed since he had some plans in his mind of maybe taking Izuku on as a student after the game ends. All Might, before I start asking Nezu questions, I wanted to know something. Outside of my annoyance with my classmates currently, I feel like everyone thinks that they will always win the battles. That isn't true, is it? Izuku asked. No, it isn't, my boy. The only reason I win so much is because of my overwhelming strength. Even then, I don't save everyone. All Might said. Izuku stayed silent for a few moments and then spoke again. I want to show them that. With the rise of villains that are more like AFO and the Yakuza, I believe my fellow students all think we will keep dealing with unorganized threats like the League when we won't be. We will deal with more people like Overhaul or AFO who have long plans and hide in the shadows while they harm people. They don't play fair at all and will do anything to win. Izuku said. He then looked at Nezu and then at All Might with a hardened look. All Might, will you stay by my side because when this game starts, I plan to be unfair. I plan to do many things that are unheroic. I plan to do things that will likely have them all hating me by the end of this. I plan to become a full-fledged villain during that game. All of my bullies and people in my life said I could never be a hero, All Might. So let us see what I would have been as a villain. Izuku said with a cold and serious tone that sent chills down Nezu and All Might's spines. My boy, I will stand by you regardless. If we need to find you a new school at the end of this, then I have many connections. Especially connections with hero schools in America that I will take you to if I need to. You are my successor, and I will always stand by your side. Though thank you for warning me about this beforehand, or else I might have gone crazy with my thoughts during the game if you didn't. I also agree. The students are not going to be facing threats like the LOV all the time. There is an increase in villains from my prime that were far more dangerous than LOV. These threats will kill the students if they aren't ready because heroes don't always win and they don't always save everyone. So my boy, let yourself free of your cage that you have placed yourself in because of this society and show them what true danger is. All Might said. Nezu was silent for a few more moments and said, I have to agree with everything said. I picked you as the villain team leader because I knew you were holding yourself back, but I underestimated your abilities. Izuku, go wild. Hold nothing back. Use any method you can that is within the rules since I know you have gone through so many loopholes in my rules that I've allowed. Also, know that I will support you regardless of how this ends. I will also help you find another school if you feel like you cannot stay here after this exam, but please do show the teachers and students that the threats we will be facing have now changed. Now let us start our Q&A. Nezu said. Soon Izuku found out that his loopholes that he found could be used. He found out that the heroes just have to capture him and needed evidence of any crime he committed to proving his guilt. They could detain him for 4 hours before they had to release him if they didn't have anything. Izuku had to kill the heroes off or make them give up. To be considered dead in this game, the students need to be knocked out or be hit with enough damage to be determined dead. A paintball gunshot to the head would be a death or a bomb going off and painting them to show damage. The teachers would be the ones calling them out based on their judgment. Izuku would be given 2 entire days in the game site before the heroes since villains have time in the real world before heroes show up to their city or base. Izuku was given permission to use a lot of things and would take classes for the tools he wanted to use. Izuku also found out that there would be student reporters and robots in the game, so the heroes had to save anyone that was in danger and not just focus on Izuku. The hero students would also not be provided money, but the stores would have food and supplies, as well as the hero base would have supplies to last them through. The supplies would only be stocked the day the heroes enter. Soon Izuku had finished asking questions to Nezu and only had one for All Might. All Might, I'm going to use some mental torture and I need your help in creating one scene for a video I will play in the city. I need to recreate the rooftop. Izuku asked, and Nezu and All Might were stunned. What was Izuku planning? Third POV. Everyone had returned to the dorms for the night, and soon the next day had arrived. The game would happen after 1 week of training and preparation. Though it seemed like the hero team was taking this easy since there was only one person on the villain team. The hero team wasn't planning or preparing for the game. The only thing that was said from Bakugo was that they would hunt down Deku and destroy him. Izuku, however, was planning and training for the exam. Part of the preparation that Izuku was doing was some sort of video that he asked for All Might's help on. All Might was confused, but was told by Izuku that he will reveal the fact that he was quirkless and some of his past for everyone to see and known about, though he would go with the lie about being a late bloomer to cover WFA. As such, Izuku had gotten some recording equipment and some help from students in the business course and started making a video. The only parts All Might knew about were the rooftop and the finding Izuku the second time. The second interaction, though, was worded differently from the true interaction to hide the truth about OFA. Izuku told All Might that he might take a hit in his reputation if he helps with the video, but All Might was willing to have it revealed since he needed to own up to it publicly if it ever got out anyway. Izuku was so happy that he accidentally called All Might Dad, which caused them both to blush. "No problem, my son." All Might responded, which made Izuku far happier, but Izuku needed to focus back on the task at hand. Izuku POV. I have most of the video done and the voices recreated. It took me all weekend, but the business course student will help me finish it off. Now I need to attend my first day of official training with Snipe for the guns and bomb training. I thought. I walked into the gun range and met Snipe, who was informed of my request. "Hello, Midoriya. I've been told you want to use guns and explosives in the game. To allow you to use this, we need to do a lot of training to get you the certifications for using them. If you pass, you can keep using guns and explosives even during your hero career, since the certifications will carry for life as long as you attend refresher courses every 2 years to stay on top of it," Snipe said. Soon we got started on the weapons that I wanted to use during the exam. One gun was a sniper rifle to allow me to kill from long range and penetrate some of the students' armor since it had enough power to do. Even though the paintball bullet won't go through, Snipe said that if it hits about certain areas, it will be considered a kill since the sniper with a real bullet could go through the students' armors. The next weapon I was trained in using was live grenades, so I could get the certificate. Though, I planned to only use paintball hand grenades, which only explodes paint instead. Snipe said it was better to just get the training out of the way regardless, since it didn't take that long. After the grenade, we moved to the next few weapons, which were a handgun and C4 explosives. The handgun was also just going to use paintball bullets, but I got certified in the training anyway. Last was the C4, which would be live C4. This training took the longest because it can cause real damage. I had plans for blowing up some buildings and wanted to learn how to use the C4 so I could attack while in a different area. Third POV. The training took most of the day and Izuku was tired from it all. He decided that he would go find All Might and spent the remainder of the day with him since classes for the training week and the game week have been canceled. As Izuku was walking towards the staff room to find All Might, he ran into his friends from the class. I still feel a bit annoyed at them, Izuku thought. "Izuku, want to hang out with us?" they asked. "Sorry, I'm looking for All Might at the moment and have some plans to do some stuff since I got some free time," Izuku said with a smile that was fake currently. "Oh, all right. We will see you later then," Uraraka said. As they walked away, Izuku could hear them talk about the fact that Izuku seemed not to be doing any training for the exam like their team isn't, and that he must be giving up. This annoyed Izuku because his own friends thought he was just going lay down and give up. The days of Izuku just rolling over have come to an end. Izuku was going to go into the battle with the intention of winning. Time skips second day of training. Izuku POV. All Might and I spent the last portion of yesterday talking about random things and also got into my past a bit more. All Might really wanted to know more of my past so he could know how he could better help me. As such, I told him everything. From the doctor's office and my mother not supporting me to the suicide beating from Catch. No Bakugo. All Might was pissed when he learned of who was my main bully was. All Might had confessed and thought it was some sort of rivalry and that he was sorry. He also told me that he would ensure that Nezu knew everything so I wasn't forced to team up like the final exam. All Might had also asked me to start seeing Hound Dog after the exercise and wanted me to at least meet him twice before the game started. It was eventful, to say the least. I had asked All Might to sit in with me since he already knew about everything. I may have thrown a chair and made a hole in the wall. All Might and Hound Dog said it was fine since I'm just now unpacking a decade worth of emotions and trauma. We found I had several issues mentally and was given some coping methods which actually seemed to help me a bit at night when I tried to go to sleep. After Hound Dog, I decided to go do some training and planning. I had a new outfit being made by May with some new fun toys. May was happy to make everything for me. I also had some plans with some business students as I wanted to have a legit business created in the city that I would run. Most villains that are starting to come will have organized crime, which means that they will have legit businesses as well. As such, I wanted to make this event as real as possible since the heroes couldn't arrest me if they didn't have enough proof to connect me to the crimes. My villain suit had a mask as well that hid my face. As such, unless they can unmask me in my villain outfit, I will be able to walk in broad daylight in my professional outfit without being arrested. Time skip day 3 of training. Izuku POV. Some of the toys that May had created for me included small drones that were hard to trace and find. I used this drone to spy on my opposing team during the training week since in the rules it said that the game officially started the first day of training, meaning that we were allowed to deploy tactics and spying to gain information on the other team. I had Nezu clear my plan of spying with a drone during the training week, and he said it was allowed since the game had started day 1 of training. In the real world, villains would want to gain information on the heroes and heroes would want information on the villains. As such, I've started to look over the video footage from day 2 and day 3 so far since I only received the drones from May at the start of day 2. I found that they had only little meetings about the exam and weren't planning to do much teamwork training or training at all. They were just doing their own normal individual training. I also found the overall plan was to find me and defeat me. It seems that Bakugo didn't read the rules much since unless they have evidence they cannot arrest me. They could only detain me for a max of 4 hours for questions which I don't even have to comply with. Time skip day 4 of training. Izuku POV. I've been talking to Nezu and clarifying a few more things that I plan, such as blowing buildings up and killing civilian robots. Nezu agreed that the heroes would have to respond to any threats in the city and reconfirmed that the heroes have to put civilian lives above capturing me. This opens me up to do so many things. I had also confirmed that Nezu knew the truth about the hero killer incident, since I might have some plans to use some mental torture on Lita and Todoroki if forced to go that route. After talking to Nezu, I went to do some physical training in a closed-off section of a training grounds that most people don't visit, courtesy of Nezu telling Izuku about it at request. I wanted to get used to my villain outfit and normal outfits so I could move fast in them and not screw up. Near the end of the day, I checked the recordings again and saw the drones that were following everyone showed little training and planning. Suddenly, I had a new question to ask Nezu. The hero team didn't seem to have a leadership structure in the event Bakugo was taken out. What if I take him out? Who is in charge? Time skip day 5 of training. Last day. Izuku POV. The event starts tomorrow for me, since as the villain I received 2 entire days in the city zone before the heroes arrive. I decided to go ask Nezu my question. Hello, Izuku. Today is your last day before you enter the zone. What can I do for you? Nezu asked. Hello, Nezu. My question is, what happens if I take Bakugo out of the game early on? Does the game keep going, or does it end? If it keeps going, then who is in charge of the hero team? I asked him. Nezu looked gleeful. The game keeps going. Even with the fall of their leader, heroes need to keep going. Unlike villains that tend to break up and scatter if the head of the organization is defeated in organized crime sometimes. As such, leadership falls to whoever they decided. Though if they didn't, then who knows who will step up and take charge. They just might break apart into small groups. Nezu said. He confirmed what I needed to know. Also, one more. What happens if a hero takes another hero out? I asked. It hasn't happened before, but the hero that took the other hero out would be disqualified due to the murder of their own teammate. That would get them arrested in the real world. Nezu said. I doubted I can get them to take each other out, but it's nice to know what happens. Thank you, Nezu. It's time for the fall of a hero, wouldn't you say? I said as I lost my normal expression and put on a face that made Nezu shiver. My eyes started to look devoid of my normal emotions, and my smile took a more scary expression when combined with my eyes. What's wrong, Nezu-sensei? I asked. It seems May's eye color-changing contacts are working well. I thought. May had created the contacts to change colors based on keywords I say, as such they will change to certain colors when I want them to. This is to hide my identity during the game since they need evidence connecting me to the villain that attacks them, as well as to make things more dramatic. I can't wait to see the reactions they have to you, Izuku. I hope they learn something from this since I know they haven't really planned or trained as a team. You, however, have been putting a lot of work into this. I suggest you go see All Might before you go to bed today, since it will be a full week before you see any of the staff again. Nezu said. I thanked Nezu and headed off to find All Might. Soon I found him walking on one of the trails on campus. All Might, I yelled. He turned around and waited for me to catch up to him. My boy, you go out into the event grounds tomorrow. How do you feel? All Might asked. I've done what I can. I'm just glad you will be waiting for me at the end of this because I don't know what mental state I will be in at the end of this. I plan to let my self-control go for the most part and just fall into the darkness that dwells within the deepest parts of my mind. As I said, I will be here no matter what. Even if we need to transfer to another school in Japan or go to America. Do what you must and show them that the world isn't fair and that the heroes don't always win. All Might said. We just walked in silence after this and soon made our way to my dorm. As we entered, I saw the entire class 1A downstairs eating dinner. Izuku, ready for the event Monday? Lita asked me with his hands chopping the air. Indeed, I said in my normal voice and smile that they are used to. Bakugo and a few others just mentioned that it's going to be a short event since Midoriya was by himself. Oh, how wrong they are. All Might and Izuku thought at the same time. Soon All Might and I made it to my dorm. He wished me luck and I turned around and looked at him. Thanks, All Might. It's time for the fall of a hero, wouldn't you say? I said, did the same look and eye color change as I did to Nezu. All Might looked shocked for a second with a split second of fear going through his eyes at my sudden change. He calmed himself down and looked at me with a hardened expression. Indeed, it's Spite, also known as the leader of the Fallen Hearts. All Might said, Izuku POV. It was time for my 2 days to start. Ironically, since none of them read the rules, I don't think they realize that I have 2 days extra in the city zone where the event will be held. Only Bakugo was given the rule book and none of my recordings have shown him sharing the rules with his team. Overall, most actions won't violate the rules, but still, they are going to be so pissed with the stuff I plan to do to them. I have also checked my drone video from last night and found that they all were doing light talking about the event. Overall, they still haven't planned that much for the event. The only useful information that they have talked about is the fact that they haven't set up a fallback leadership, even though Todoroki had brought it up. In the words of Bakugo, we will crush Deku in the first day. We don't need to plan much outside of locating him and then defeating him. Overall, the hero team hasn't planned much outside of trying to find me and arresting me. Though from the conversations, I think they don't realize that they need proof to hold me longer than 4 hours and to win. I guess I can use that to my advantage. I made my way to Nezu's office where I would then be taken to the event grounds. Time skip. Izuku POV. Nezu and the rest of the staff took me to the event grounds. It was a very detailed city. I was amazed at the level of detail that they had put into his place. Nezu had also whispered to me that only he, All Might, and Snipe know about the guns and explosives, so none of the other teachers know currently. As such, the staff will be also reacting to what I do as well. This was going to be fun. Nezu gave me an earpiece so the staff could talk to me in the event of something. Nezu provided me the address of my base and told me that everything I requested is there. I was allowed to move bases and set up in another place if I want. I could do anything I want as long as I don't go outside the border walls. Thank you, and let the first act preparation start. Also, All Might, are you sure you don't have a problem with the parts that will be shown about you? I asked one more time. This confused everyone but All Might and Nezu. It's okay, my boy. If it helps you get the point across that you aim for in this event, then do it. I always regretted what I did to you that day, my boy. I'm just glad I was able to make some amends. Again, my boy, I am sorry about that day. All Might said, which just made all the staff confused. Even Nezu, since he didn't know what happened, just that I had a video made about some rooftop. All Might, what are you two talking about? What did you do that you regret? Nezu asked, but I stopped them from pushing. Nezu, you enjoy a good show. Why ruin the fun and shock factor? It will be more important that you see the entire video in full. The day All Might regrets is the same day my entire life could have ended differently. I said. I turned around and made my way into the city. I used OFA to quickly move around the place, and I located some important places. Hero HQ, since they can't really change locations. City Hall, banks, hospital, fire station, police station, jail. Water plant control the water supply in the city. Electrical plant controls all power in the city. News station controls the TV news in the city. Soon I made my way to my base after spending 3 hours roaming the city, trying to get a good grasp on it. I soon found my lair, which was an underground old train station that isn't marked on the maps. I decided to move some of my supplies to other areas that I found in my trip around the city to ensure that if the heroes found this place, I would be able to live and have weapons. Nezu provided me everything I had requested. I had a heck ton of explosives, guns, and ammo. I had enough to move some supplies to other locations as drop-off locations. After separating everything out and moving some of the supplies to other places, I decided to get to work on my explosive plans. I was required to alert the staff to any explosions that I was setting off, and also the locations I placed the bombs at. This was to ensure that staff could be ready to save any student in the event of an emergency, or if I don't use them at all, so Snipe could disarm them with ectoplasm clones, which is as smart on their part. The first place I was placing bombs was in the Heroes building. The building is being treated as an empty space currently that just got recently bought and is being renovated. None of the other buildings make sense for the Hero HQ. As such, I've placed some explosives in the room where the food should be stored and small explosives in the pipes under their bathrooms. Now it was time to move towards placing explosives around the city that I would use as distractions to force the heroes off me and save people. The reason I'm placing mini bombs is that as an organized crime lord, I would have had places in my city that I was ready to blow up to cause problems for the heroes to pull attention away from my operations. I decided to place bombs at the electrical plant and water plant. Due to the fact that I'm a villain, I can steal the supplies I need if I run out. Heroes are meant to be upstanding citizens. As such, they would need to break their morals and steal if they don't have enough money. Though if I don't get rid of Yaoyorozu, then the electrical and water plant won't matter since they can get her to build generators and other supplies like money. I was done placing my bombs around the city. I've placed bombs in quite a few places and was ready to cause trouble if I needed to. The rest of the first day was spent getting similar to the place and talking to other students. It seems that a few hours ago UA had let the robot citizens in the city and had UA students from other courses enter the city who were getting extra credit if they joined as citizens, reporters, or other things. I decided to get in my business clothing and meet up with some of the students. I also needed to visit the fake business that I had set up with some of the students. It was called Green Valley Stock Exchange. I'm just glad UA provided me a GPS device with the alive students' locations so I don't set a bomb off when one of them close enough to get hurt. Though the Hero Course students are free game in my bombs, I was asked just not to actually kill them with those bombs so I have to employ some safety. Teacher's POV. All of the staff was a bit tense after Izuku entered the city zone. They all wanted to know what video Izuku was talking about and what All Might did. But they decided to wait to see the video since Izuku said he would play it during the event. Nezu was a bit concerned since Izuku was planning to go deep in the villain roleplay. Nezu had some ideas about what happened on said rooftop since Izuku is quirkless, but he is hoping he was wrong since villain Midoriya that is going to be shown could have been a large possibility. With the information that Nezu has seen in the notebooks, Izuku was a threat if he ever becomes a villain in reality, even without OFA, since he could have other villains kill the heroes without him doing anything. All Might. I know we will need to wait for the video. However, if my theory is right, then I want you to know how close we were to Midoriya taking the other two options he had opened to him that day. I believe you know what those options are. Nezu asked. Yes, I painfully know. That is why I will always be at his side no matter what. Especially after this, since I will need to pull him back once we are done with this event. All Might said. This just sent alarm bells off in everyone else's mind since they didn't know what was going to happen. They thought this was going to be over on the first day because Izuku was by himself. However, based on Nezu and All Might conversation, it didn't appear it would end the first day, but take the entire time. The staff watched the camera and saw what Izuku was doing. He was scouting the entire city out. He then made it to his base, and the other staff was shocked. NEZU, are those live explosives? Vlad King asked. Why, yes, they are. How good of you to notice. Nezu responded in his cheery tone. The staff went ballistic. They were all wondering why he had guns and explosives. He requested it and went through the needed training to get certified by Snipe. He is 100% able to handle those weapons. As such, I can say this year's event will be very bloody on the hero side. Nezu said with a grin on his face. The staff then watched Izuku separate some of the supply into different locations, which they thought was smart of him in the event his main base is lost. They also saw him place the explosives across several places in the city. How did he know the HQ of the heroes? Asked Midnight. Not that hard to figure it out. It's the only place being renovated and is big enough for a hero team the size of the two classes. So it was only a matter of time that he figured it out. Also, villains generally know the locations of the HQs anyway. All Might said. Nezu was just watching every single movement that Izuku did. Nezu wanted to imprint this entire event in his mind because of what Izuku has shown in the few meetings this past week. Eraserhead was just confused about what he has missed about his student that All Might and Nezu has noticed. Soon all the staff saw the day starting to come to an end, and Izuku decided to start talking it up with the students that are getting extra credit in this event by playing as reporters and some other jobs. They all saw him in a new outfit and were surprised about it since it was the first time seeing him in such clothing. Izuku looked like some leader of a business, or in this case, a villain organization. Time skip day 2 of villain preparation. Third POV. Izuku had talked to the other students in the event area last night, and today he would visit his business today and explore other shops that had been set up with robots running them. Due to the fact that Izuku had a business, he also had a credit card with fake money attached to it, so he could buy things legally and get fake cash inside the city. This confused the staff on why he had a fake business, but figured it out quickly since organized crime empires had legit businesses that they ran to get clean money. They thought Izuku was smart by going this route, since if he ran out of supplies, he would never be caught stealing for food or water. As Izuku spent most of the day just wandering the town and getting clues on where he wants to stage operations, the staff for the most part were just getting ready for the first day of fighting. Izuku knew that he would need to keep moving on most days and needed to know good vantage points to take out heroes. He also knew that he needed to target certain heroes to make the exam go in his favor. These heroes were Yaoyorozu, Hagker, Jiro, Shoji, Kurwaro for the most part. These people were top targets due to Yaoyorozu's ability to create items, and the other four due to their recon and stealth abilities, which could get people on his trail. As such, they made his top target list if he gets a chance. Everyone else would present challenges in their own right, but Izuku wanted to get rid of anyone that could find him and follow him from a distance. Izuku has also noticed that there was a park out front of the heroes' building and had the fun idea of taunting the heroes. He knew Bakugo would likely try and arrest him right then and there or attack him. However, without proof, they couldn't do anything. Soon the last day of his preparation came to an end. The bombs have been placed. Drop-off locations with supplies have been set up, and he had his initial first day plan ready. Izuku looked over the video footage from the drones for the last 2 days, and he found that the hero team only did light training as a team, but not enough to make both classes effective together. It's almost time for the heroes to arrive. Soon, the world shall know the fear of spite. Izuku whispered. Teacher POV. Some of the staff questioned Izuku's use of the drones before the heroes entered the event, but Nezu said it was allowed since the rules said the game actually started on the first day of the training week. As such, Izuku was within his rights. The teachers were shocked since they didn't realize that the rule could be applied like that. Izuku was finding several loopholes and exploiting them already. The teachers' opinions started to change to the fact that this would take longer than 1 day. Eraserhead had enough, though, and wanted to know what he was missing about his student. Nezu, you and All Might know something that we are all missing. What is going to happen during this event, and should we be worried? Eraserhead asked, which caused everyone to freeze since he asked such a question. Nezu looked at All Might, and then back to the other staff. Did any of you ever notice that Izuku acted weird during the start of the year? If you did, you should know that the Izuku you all know is a watered-down version that he has created to keep himself safe from us and his classmates. Now his classmates are safe from him. You need to know that none of the students in 1A and 1B will likely leave the event the same as they went in. Izuku is now free to do as he pleases, and they will suffer his wrath that he has kept locked away for over a decade. The video he will have broadcasted out of the TV station will explain a lot of why he needed to protect himself from us, and why he is now lashing out in this event. Just know that All Might and I stand behind Izuku regardless of what he does in this event. It's time that the students learn that the hero doesn't always win, and they can't save everyone. They have grown used to the threats like the LOV, but organized crime is making its return. Villains are getting smarter, and this event will show the nasty reality of how unfair this world can be. Nezu said in a cold tone. This made the entire staff worried, especially Vlad King and Eraserhead. It's almost time for the heroes to arrive. Soon, the world shall know the fear of spite. Izuku whispered. The staff froze at this. Why Spite as his villain name? Is what everyone thought. Oh, how appropriate that name is, Nezu said, which caused All Might to agree. Hound Dog, you might want to prepare yourself for a lot of sessions after this event. It will get disturbing, All Might said. This just made everyone in the staff room even more worried. What is Izuku planning? Is the thought they all had. Third POV. Izuku woke up and made his way in his professional clothing to the location near the hero HQ, but far enough to be out of anyone's range of hearing or sight. Izuku just sat up on a building roof and waited for the heroes to arrive in the next hour. Time skip. Heroes POV. All of the students from the two classes had gathered outside the city zone. They were surprised at the level of detail they could see over the wall blocking everyone in. Nezu was in front of everyone on a teacher's shoulder. Good day, everyone. Today is the first day of the event. I want to remind you of some rules. You can't arrest anyone if you don't get evidence of a crime. You could detain them for 4 hours max to question them, but will need to release them at the end of the time, or you will be penalized. Also, remember you are expected to be upstanding citizens of this city. As such, act like you should if you were already full-fledged heroes. I hope you all know the laws of the city, and I wish you good luck. You have 5 days to capture the villain, or else you lose. Nezu said. Oi, what do you mean we can't arrest the damn Deku without proof? He's the only villain in the city, therefore anything that happens is his fault. Bakugo yelled out. The staff was disappointed that Bakugo didn't read the rules. Bakugo, it was in the rule book I gave you. Not our problem if you didn't read them and tell everyone. Now, remember you can't harm anyone or arrest anyone without proof. You can only detain for a max of 4 hours before you have to let them go. Also, remember once again you have to follow the normal rules as a citizen, and it is your job to protect the citizens and keep them safe first. Capturing the villain is always secondary to the life of the citizens. Nezu said as he directed everyone on the bus to be transported to the hero's HQ. Some of the students were complaining to Bakugo about him not reading the rule book. He threw the rule book in them and told Lita to start reading, which he did. The buses soon moved out, and it took about 15 minutes for them to arrive at the hero's HQ. They all got off the bus and were in front of the Hero Agency building. The building had 5 floors and enough living space for all of them. As the students looked at the building, they started to hear the noise around them. They all turned around and noticed that there were robots and real-live people moving around the city. They could see reporters, police, taxi drivers. If you could name it, then there was a robot or a person doing it. When you all go pro in the real world, you can live at an agency sometimes, but they will take a cut of your paycheck. So this is a lesson of living at your agency that you work for. The event has now started. Enter the agency and get to work because you are now on the clock. Snipe said as he got back on the bus, and they drove off. Everyone soon snapped out of it at Bakugo's yelling and moved into the office. They spent about 30 minutes getting used to the place, and Bakugo had called everyone down and had us split into teams and wanted some of us to start patrolling. However, that was cut short when Shoji spoke up. Everyone. I hear Midoriya outside. Shoji said. Everyone was shocked for a second and thought that he was coming to surrender. Why, where is he? Bakugo yelled. Shoji said he's across the street at the park. Izuku POV. I saw the heroes enter their building. After about 10 minutes, I decided to move to the park in front of their building and sat down at the table. I just started humming a song. Soon the heroes heard that I was outside. It was getting close to the first show. Let the show begin, I whispered towards a camera for the staff to read my lips and hear me with the enhanced cameras they have going around the place. Bakugo came outside, and they all came running over to me. Oi, you here to surrender, villain? Bakugo yelled. I just put a confused look on my face. I'm sorry, Mr. Hero, but I don't know what you mean. I'm just an upstanding citizen enjoying the park. There is no crime here that would make me a villain now, is there? I said while looking at him with a small smile. Everyone was silent for a few moments. Bakugo had a few sparks going off in his hand and looked ready to just attack me. Teacher POV. The staff was all sitting in the viewing room that had bathrooms and bedrooms connected with a kitchen as well. The staff was expected to stay here for the entire event. Soon the event started and Snipe pointed out that one drone picked Izuku up near the hero building. What is he doing? Mike asked. Soon they found out when the heroes came outside. But before the heroes arrived, the staff heard, "Let the show begin." From Izuku. This confused everyone since he hasn't done much for the first day. Izuku did warn them that he was going to set a bomb off in an area of the city, and they approved it, but he hasn't yet. The staff watched the heroes talk to Izuku, and Midnight pointed out that Bakugo might get arrested by a police robot if he strikes Izuku for no reason. Everyone agreed. It seems Izuku is taunting the heroes since they can't do anything to him without proof of a crime, Nezu said. Soon though, before Bakugo could do anything, the city was shaken by a large explosion. Third POV. As Izuku sat down in front of everyone and listened to them question him on why he won't just give up since they know he is the villain and they would catch him soon doing something. They all got silenced from a loud explosion that made the city shake. What the hell was that? Some of the students yelled out. Soon they could see fire and smoke coming from several blocks down. Looks like a villain attack. You heroes need to go to work, it seems. It was nice meeting you all, but I should clear the area. I don't want to get caught in a villain attack, Izuku said as he started to walk away. Bakugo was pissed. Izuku had just bombed a part of the city while sitting right in front of them, and they had no proof. Everyone needs to go to the damn fire. DKU. I will catch you soon, Bakugo yelled. Izuku turned around and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Though just a warning. The villain in this town does have a grudge. The story is that he loathes heroes because of his past. As such, I suggest being careful, hero. Izuku then walked away. Hero POV. Everyone had arrived at the site of the fire. It was devastating. There was rubble spread across the city, and the building was ablaze. Fire robots and police had arrived, and were trying to put the building out and rescue people. Did Izuku really blow the building up? Asked a lot of the 1A and 1B students that were closer to Izuku. Bakugo had arrived and started to tell everyone to put the fire out. Todoroki created some ice and had Kendo hold the ice as he melted it so she could throw it onto the building. Other hero students were working on pulling people out of the building. Some of them were freaking out because the robots were screaming like real people, which made it hard to work since they weren't used to seeing a sight like this. Soon the work of putting the fire out was going well when the building collapsed into itself. The hero students didn't know what to do. A fire chief robot came up and said that the heroes could leave since anyone left inside was dead, and they would be pulling bodies out for roughly a few days as they worked their way through the building remains. Soon the entire hero team made it back to the hero agency and were all in silence. Why did he blow that building up? What was the purpose of it? Asked Ishido from 1A. Everyone was wondering the same thing. Soon though there was a knock on the door and they had found a package. What the hell is in the package? Todoroki asked. No one could hear anything coming from the box as such. Bakugo opened it and saw a CD in the box with "Play Me" written on it. What the hell is this? Bakugo said. He handed it to Kendo, who was near the TV, and had her put it on the TV to play. Soon the video started and displayed a masked figure. Below, and imagine the eyes are white and his hair is all black due to a wig. Hello, heroes, the figure stated. Some of them were talking about how Midoriya changed his looks so that they couldn't outright arrest him, which was smart, everyone thought. Soon, everyone waited. My name is Spite, and I welcome you all to my city, but will have to ask you all to leave or die. Though I doubt all of you heroes will do that. As such, I will have to remove you all permanently. Now, I wonder how many of you ever wondered why villains became villains. For those that wonder why I became the leader of the Fallen Hearts villain group, I would like to tell you all a story of how I fell into my spot as a villain. I promise you this story holds truth within, and the events did happen. As such, let me tell you why I loathe heroes so much. It's because they are nothing but fakes and frauds. Let us start with how I grew up. Did you know that 20% of the world is quirkless? Spite stated. This caught everyone off guard since Izuku wasn't quirkless, but Bakugo froze. Is he going to Bakugo thought? You're all wondering why would I bring that fact up? I do have a quirk after all, but the truth is I didn't always. I am one of the world's oldest cases of being a late bloomer. This means that I didn't receive my quirk until I was around 14. Though that isn't the reason I became a villain. No. The reason is because of how the world treats the quirkless people and how disgusting heroes are. At the age of 4, I was diagnosed as quirkless. It was at this point I learned that the world isn't fair and that everyone is born unequal. From the age of 4, my mother wasn't that really supportive and treated me like glass. Shows a picture of young Izuku being hugged by Inko and her saying sorry. When my classmates learned of me being quirkless, they soon turned on me. So did my best friend who I saw as a brother. Think of the scene where Bakugo is beating Izuku up on the ground when he is defending a kid. Soon my name was forgotten, and it was replaced with a derogatory term that everyone would use to call me. As such, I had no choice but to respond to it even as I got into my teens. At first, the bully was only name-calling and some light physical attacks with quirks. But soon it turned to much worse. The teachers would join in on the taunting and name-calling. Teachers would ignore my cries for help when students would use their quirk on me, even in front of them. I would go home bloody and bruised every single day, and nothing was ever done about it. This happened for an entire decade. I was beaten and abused mentally and physically forever. However, it only got worse. Soon, my former best friend, who turned my bully, decided to take it up a notch. No one had decided to break this threshold until him. It was the day we were meant to give our career applications in on where we wanted to go in the future. The teacher talked to us and said something about everyone wanting to be heroes, which caused everyone to use their quirks. Soon though, the teacher decided to let everyone know what I wanted to do. It was always my dream to be a hero. Everyone laughed at me, and my main bully used his quirk on my desk, while the teacher just stood by doing nothing like normal. Everyone always told me that as a quirkless person, I could never be a hero, and that day would be the day I broke. My former best friend turned to bully stopped me from leaving class that day. He and his little followers had some advice for me now. What was it? Yes. If you want to be a hero so badly, how about you take a swan dive off the roof and pray for a quirk in my next life, he said. Now I wasn't planning to do it, but still, he had opened the threshold for telling me to suicide baiting. Since he had never done it, the other students who took his lead never did it either. My bully decided to take the hero journal that I had notes on heroes in and destroyed it and threw it out the window into a koi pond. The bully and his followers walked away. Show's end of the middle school day where Bakugo did all this. I went on my way home that day and decided to take a long way since I didn't want to go home yet. Soon I came under an underpass and my life flashed before my eyes since a villain attacked me and nearly killed me. It was a sludge villain. Soon though, I was saved by the number one hero, All Might. I looked up to this person and wanted to ask him the question. Surely he would tell me I could be a hero. He was the hero that inspires everyone and said anyone could be a hero after all. However, the reality was different. After being saved, I had did a dumb move and grabbed onto All Might since I wanted to ask the question. Soon we would arrive on a rooftop where I would ask All Might the question. Can I be a hero even though I'm quirkless? Do you know his answer? Let me tell you. Show rooftop scene. No, young man. I cannot simply say that you can be a hero even without power. If you want to help others, then you could also become a police officer. But you also have to consider what's realistic, young man. All Might said to me, did you know as a quirkless person, people cannot get really any jobs? The quirkless unemployment rate is 95%. I don't know if this is true. As such, it would have been impossible to really do anything else. Even to be a police officer, you must have a quirk. Job applications require disclosure of the quirk, which means people would never give me a job. Soon I would walk down that roof with my dreams crushed. I would hear an explosion off to another part of the city, but I somehow end up there via my feet, even though I didn't plan to. I would find heroes standing around not saving a kid. The kid would turn out to be my childhood friend, turned the main bully. Ironic, isn't it? Though I still had a heart at this time, and for some reason, my body was moving on its own to try and save my bully. I would cause a small distraction that would give my bully a few moments of air, and then All Might shows up to save the day. At the end of this, the heroes on site would scold me and ask me what I was doing. They even asked if I was crazy since they found out I was quirkless. They did this while praising my bully, who only made the situation worse by having his quirk go off and causing the fires on the buildings nearby. They told him he would be an amazing hero and all that. I soon escaped from the site and walked home. Now in some other reality, I might have been stopped on my way home by All Might a second time, where he would tell me he was wrong, and he offers to help train me, where we would discover that I did have a quirk that required me to gain a lot of muscle. But in this slightly different reality, I would make it home without anyone stopping me. I made it home and sat in my room where I had all my hero merchandise of All Might. I would look around and see his smile. It was in these moments that my broken dreams turned into a raging fire of hatred. I came to hate that damn smile and all the other heroes from the sludge villain attack who just stood by. I helped my bully, my tormentor, when they stood around and did nothing. I couldn't take it anymore. The false heroes, the fact that my bully, my tormentor for a decade, was praised as a good hero candidate. If he was such a good hero, then I didn't want to be a hero anymore with all the fakes. With all the lies that people like All Might spout on the TV. As such, I became Spite the villain. I lead many heroes to their death. Now it's your turn, heroes. Will you leave the city, or will you die at my hands like all the other heroes? Make your decision. Oh, by the way, this video has been played across the entire city for the citizens to see. The truth of the hero society is now out there. So, this was the end of part 1 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.